Welcome back. Today we got you 5 tips for the new game in early access called We Who Are About to Die. This game is a roguelike gladiator sim that's now out in early access on Steam and is being developed by one person. I gotta say, for one person working on this game, the combat physics, the RPG elements, he's doing a great job. The roadmap is looking great and I can't wait to see the future of it. I picked up this game myself because it reminds me of Colosseum back from the PS2 days, where you're a gladiator who has to fight or pay for their freedom. In We Who Are About to Die, there is RPG elements such as skills and levels of your character you get to train. The combat is physics based, meaning that depending on how you click and move your mouse is how you're going to swing your weapon, and it also corresponds into defending. You can defend with a sword or with a shield, and you have to defend in the direction that the attack is coming. There are tons of armor and weapons in this game, from helmets to shoulder pads to leg armor. Then you have your shields and your swords, spears, and clubs. Depending on your playstyle, you might want to try out a few of them and see which ones you like more. Starting up, you get a random character. He has a backstory and he has a different type of victory negotiations. Everyone's victory negotiations are different. Some will want a lot of fame, some will want a lot of money. Some of them have to be friendly with all of the patrons who are the in-game host. For example, some backstories could be your character is a slave, and if he is a slave, 50% of all the gold you make after a fight goes to your trainer. There's also criminals, which one of their negative effects is that it takes longer for the crowd to be on your side. The happier and the more entertained they are, the more fame and gold you receive at the end of the match. Lastly, a potential gladiator you can receive is an ex-soldier who has retired. These I think are the best at the moment, as they come in with a couple combat skills, and usually their gold and fame is a little bit high up there in the beginning. I had one soldier who started with 1,000 gold off the bat and his fame was well over 1,000. And we're off to tip number 1. Do the tutorial. Do not skip out. When I was younger, used to skip tutorials and wonder why I was struggling in certain games, and I know in this one I would definitely be struggling because the combat is not hack and slash. You have to time your attacks and defend accordingly while making sure your stamina bar is not depleted. If your stamina bar depletes all the way, you won't be able to dodge out the way or sprint away in case your weapon breaks and you have to pick up another one. Combat, as I said earlier, is physics based, so if you're going to swing for the head, you have to aim high, you have to hold click either in a direction, and that's the way he's going to attack. For example, if you come on here, you see that this dummy's right here. If you click into the right, you're going to swing from the right. If you click and hold to the left, you're going to swing to the left. If you click and hold to the top, you're going to go for a high strike. The closer you are to the enemy depends on where you're going to hit them. You can hit their swords or their shields, which would be considered a block, and they can counterattack, so be wary. You can also throw your weapons in game. If you throw your weapons, you can throw them away. The directions is kind of hard. I'm not professional at throwing weapons, as you can see here, but you can throw your weapon at your enemy and pick up another one. Pro tip, if you're going to throw your weapon, make sure there's a weapon nearby to pick up off the ground. And the last part of the tutorial, you're able to spar with a few AIs. They'll just stand there to initiate it. You just go up to them and smack them with your sword. I do recommend sparring against the gentleman that has a shield here. He is going to fight you and defend, and it can basically help you out when you're going against most enemies that are going to have shields. Shields could depend on small bucklers or big shields that cover a majority of the body. If they deflect your attack, and they will counter attack, it's going to take a couple damage, and for the fact of swinging and being deflected, you're going to lose stamina, so always keep that in mind when going against a shielded opponent. The second tip I want to talk about are your skills. Your skills in the game vary depending on how your character comes in and his backstory. Some of them will have a bit more experience in one-handed sword, some of them will have less experience in stamina. I do recommend going for stamina training in the beginning, especially at early level, because you're going to be running and sprinting and even possibly dodging. Stamina also includes your weapon swing, your shielding, and if you have multiple enemies around you and you have no stamina, good luck trying to get away from them. You can level up your skills by going into a game and using them. For example, you're using a one-handed sword. If you take out enemies with that, you're going to level it up. If you're using a shield and you're blocking a lot of attacks, you're also going to level it up. Another way you can upgrade your skills is by going to training in your Skolo. You go onto the tab that says Skolo training, and as you see here, you have to buy training gears. Right below it is the type of training you're going to do. In the beginning, as I said, I always focus on stamina first. Secondary, I recommend to choose a weapon that you think you're going to use the most. I do stamina and one-handed swords because I like using the swords over anything else. The intensity of the training also determines how hard it's going to train. If you have it all the way up, you're going to need more training gear. If you put it low, you're going to need less. I believe in the beginning is between 3 to 6 training gear you need for training. Do keep in mind that when you're doing this training in the menu, it will have a negative effect on your stamina in the upcoming match. So if you put the intensity too high, you will start the match with less stamina. I went into a match and I had 50% less stamina than normal, and it was horrible. I would only swing about 1 or 2 times before my character was completely gassed and I had to back up to get my stamina back up. The third tip I'm giving to players in this game is to pay attention to how much gold and fame you have before every match. The reason this is important is because gold can be used for upgrades, gold can be used to repair your items, and also could be used for healing your character. If you don't have enough gold to heal your character, you're going to go into a match with health missing, and that can cost you the match. And in one of my Let's Plays, you'll see that in the last match, I was only able to heal one time, and I went into a match with half health, and unfortunately our gladiator passed away. Fame can be used for many different things. Fame can be used for extra slots in your inventory. Fame can be used to get more slots in the store. You could hold items using your fame. You also use your fame to reveal matches. When you go to the battles, you'll see that some of them have question marks on there. When they have the question marks, you go down to the reveal, which will cost you maybe a couple hundred of fame, and you can reveal what type of match it is, what level it is, if there's any events going on in that match. For example, some of the events that can happen is the one where it's the luck of the draw. This one meaning that you don't go in with any weapons or shields, you have to pick up what's scattered around the area thrown in by the crowd. Another one is called Entourage, which is actually a skill you need to unlock. If Entourage is available in that battle, you're able to bring in 2 more allies to help you out, whether it's a 1v many, many versus many, or if it's just called the Pit, which is just many fighters going against each other. There are other items you can use gold and fame for. You can use gold to do bribery on the patrons. You could also use it to place bets. Both fame and gold allow you to transfer them to each other. It's not a one-for-one transfer. For example, if you use the fundraiser, you're giving up fame so you can get some gold, and the other one lets you give up gold so you can gain a little bit more fame. Pay attention to how much you have in it, because sometimes you're going to have to give up your fame for some extra gold to heal your characters. If you choose not to, unfortunately you might meet the end. The 4th tip I want to go over is upgrades. Look at the upgrades carefully. Don't spend all your money in the wrong spots, especially in the beginning where you barely have any gold. But some of the upgrades are very useful. There's one that you could upgrade the blacksmith so it will repair better. There's another to upgrade the medic, the healer. You could actually make the healer cheaper. And then there's another upgrade that the healer's effectiveness will be better. As you use the healer, it'll get more expensive and the effectiveness will go down. So pay attention to that closely as well. You could also invest in your next character. You can give a portion of your gold in case your character passes away. Your next character has a few gold passed over from the last one. There's an upgrade called Heirloom, which I do recommend getting. If you ever have a good item and you want to hold it off for your next character, you put it in your #1 slot. If your character happens to pass away and you have Heirloom activated, that Heirloom will get passed on to your next character. So if you give him a high level sword and your guy passes away, the next character automatically spawns with that sword in his inventory. It's very good, especially when you're already mid-game or deep into the game. Another upgrade I do recommend getting as soon as you're able to afford it is Entourage. That's the one I spoke about earlier, which lets you bring in 2 allies to any match that has that event active. For example, if it's a 1v1 and it has the event for Entourage and you activate it, you're automatically going to turn the tides in that battle by being a 3-on-1. Keep it in mind, it's not cheap, but it is good to get early on if you can. The 5th and final tip is combat. Combat can be looked upon differently. It's not only in-game. You can prepare yourself before you get into a battle. When you head over to your battle menu, you see the 3 battles that are popped up. You can choose and select which one you want to do. Each of them will have different types of events that are going on, and there's multiple different types of fights. There's 1v1s, many versus 1, 1 versus many, 1v3s. The pit fights are fun because it could be an all-out free-for-all, or it could just be a bunch of teams of 2s. And unfortunately, in one of the pit fights, I didn't know that he was my teammate, and I was wondering what was going on, but he wasn't dying. And then he killed the last guy and I won, and I was like, oh man, I was hitting my own teammate. I can't believe it. Shame on me, shame on me. The crowd was booing me and I didn't realize it. Use fame to reveal what the combat battles are. You know, sometimes they're gonna have question marks. You use a little bit of fame, it'll tell you, oh, this is a level 2 1v1. If you're level 2 and you think you're up for it, take it. Sometimes you're not, you want to reveal the next one over. The next one could be a pit fight, you know, everyone for themselves. A lower level, so you're just like, hey, that one seems better, let's go into it and let's do it. I recommend also going into battles that are your rank. If there's only high level ranks on there, pay attention to your health and your stamina bar in the battle, because they are going to be challenging, and all of the fights do get challenging as you start ranking up. When you're in a game, you always want to pay attention to your stamina bar. When you swing, you deplete it. When you block a hit, you deplete it. And when you sprint and dodge, you're also depleting it. Never let it get too low to the point where your character can't sprint away or retreat, because it will end up costing you. Also, keep your eyes out on the battlefield. Survey it very well, not only for enemies, but also for weapons. Your weapons do degrade in game, and sometimes you could swing and hit somebody and your sword will just break and drop to the floor. You're not going to be able to pick that sword up anymore. Look around. There might be a spear thrown in by the crowd. There might be a nice golden sword dropped by another fighter that was downed. They're all yours to use in a match. Some matches are going to have an event where you can keep any items that you come out with. At that point, don't tab out the match right away when you're victorious. Take a walk around the battlefield, see what you can pick up. Maybe your shield is damaged, maybe there's a bigger shield on the floor. Maybe your sword is a wooden sword and you didn't even realize it, that's why you weren't doing that much damage. But there's an iron sword laying down right behind the guy you took down. Keep your eyes open, keep them peeled, and look for what you can take. Also, don't forget that this isn't hack and slash. You don't want to go into a match and just swing your sword in flurries. Time your attacks. Swing once, swing twice, back up, take a break, take a breather. Look around, see how you can go about it. If the enemy happens to target onto one of your friends, go up behind them and do a power attack. You hold the click button and swing, you do some extra damage. If you see a yellow X mark on the screen, that means you didn't do that much damage. If it's red, you're doing high damage. Also, pay attention to what the crowd wants. Sometimes the crowd is going to ask you to switch weapons in game. What you do is ready up that weapon and you throw it at your opponent and you pick up another weapon. You want to keep the crowd entertained because that's going to benefit you towards the end with your reputation and your fame. Well, don't feel ashamed if you got to back away from a fight. If you think this guy's going to beat you right away and you see someone else on the other side that's getting beat up by your teammate, run away from him as fast as you can. Try to kite him to your teammates and let your teammate hit him so that way he's not attentive to you only. This will really help you gain your stamina and weight, and you can take time to take a breather before you head right back in and try to take him out. So guys, this is it for my 5 tips of we who are about to die. I hope you guys take this information and use it. It's helped me out a lot. I have a few hours in the game. I'm going to be putting some more hours into this game. Maybe I'll make a second combat video for you guys with more footage, of course. I hope you guys enjoy this game. Like I said, it reminds me of Gladiator back in the PS2 era. I'm a big fan of the whole Gladiator theme, so it's giving me that itch to keep on playing. I will be streaming this game live one of these days. Subscribe if you want to catch it live. We could talk about it, talk about Gladiators, talk about the Roman Empire. Up to you guys. I'll see you all around. Be safe and have a great day.